Okay, so now we're on to mistake proofing. Um, they also call this Poka-Yoke. So um, basically, in your processes, you just want to look for moments where you can make it impossible or difficult to do it incorrectly. Um, so trying to use strong visual indicators is a good way to do this. I think a good example of that in the film industry is banded cable. How all of the banded is color coded, so you just match green to green, white to white, and as long as you match the colors up, you're in good shape. An even better way is to rely on physical impediments. So, um, again, with the banded, reverse ground, that is, it makes it so that the only place that you can plug the ground into is the ground. So even if you're colorblind, it doesn't matter because you can only plug the ground into one place. Really, the goal is to make it feel like kindergarten. You want to make sure that nobody can do it wrong, and that could be even for the simplest thing. It doesn't have to be something that is pretty dangerous, um, like patching and banded. It could be as simple as a specific item goes in one spot. So you put Kaizen foam there and you cut it out and label it, and you know, make sure that it's very clear as to where that item goes. Um, and when people do manage to beat your mistake proofing or your process, um, you really want to blame the process, not the person. You don't want to be like, well, this guy's just a dummy. He can't follow simple directions. You're gonna have to just forget about the person. Look at your process. What in your process allowed that person to make those mistakes? How can you change your process now to make sure that those mistakes cannot be made in the future? Because if you don't blame the process and you just say, oh well, that guy's a dummy, let's just get him out of here and we'll get somebody new. Next thing you know, the same problem's going to happen again. So, maybe look into mistake proofing or Poka-Yoke as a way to make sure that you can stop it from happening for next time. Really good example of another physical impediment is the 220 Bates cable. So, um, the pin spacing on the 220 Bates cable is different than the 100 amp Bates cable, the 120 volt. So you can see here that on the right side that um, this middle pin is spaced a little further left. So this makes it so that you can't plug 120 volt cable into 220 volt cable. So no chance of overvolting something. Here's another example we have that is on one of our trucks. Um, we used to have this 12-foot square tube on the top of our sprinters, and it's totally possible to ratchet strap this square tube down, but it left a lot of room for error. And when we don't really know who's renting the trucks, we don't know their skill level. Um, we just thought that this was kind of dangerous. So what we ended up doing was just putting a 12-foot tube on top of the truck. So that way, all they had to do was unscrew this. They could pull it out, and it's definitely a lot more mistake-proofed than the previous version. Um, Mistakes are amazing. Yes, you have to think about mistakes as exciting opportunities to improve. Um, at Bolt, what we do is at the end of every day, we try and write down our mistakes and just try and we just want to document all of our mistakes and be very open about the mistakes that we've made because um, then the next morning we're like, oh, what can we improve? How do we, what was something that bugged us yesterday? We look at our mistakes and we say, oh, okay, I like, I made this mistake where I forgot to put this thing on this cart. So okay, how can we figure out how to how to fix that so that that mistake doesn't happen again? Um, yeah, no one has no mistakes. No one's perfect. They're just hiding them. Um, there was like a pretty good story of like a new Ford executive who came to work at Toyota running a plant, and he um, he went to his boss and he was like, hey, just like letting you know we're doing great at the plant. We haven't had any lost time at all for from any mistakes or anything. Like, plant is running super smooth. And his boss said, okay, I don't know what you're doing over there, but you're going to have um, you know some amount of time where you shut down the plant to fix things, because if you're not shutting down the plant, that means that you're just hiding all of your mistakes. So um, you'll shut down the plant, you'll fix your mistakes. Don't lie to me anymore. And really the problem that he was having was that people were scared to bring mistakes to him, and so that's really just like as a manager, what you really want to create is this open environment where mistakes are totally okay. It's more of how you respond to those mistakes. How do you improve the process once you realize that you've made a mistake? Um, and it's just like, okay, well, let's just blame the process. It's not your fault. It's just the process that we have is not very good. Let's fix it. And yeah, the best lean thinkers say that they're wrong multiple times a day. You just have to be very comfortable with being wrong. I'm wrong a lot. Blame the process, not the person. I don't know how many times I could say it, but it's just I really love it. It's the best, one of the best sayings from lean. So okay, what does lean look like? I love this picture. I love all the 5S stuff. Just like everything very organized. Everything has a place. This is from a lab, I think. So operational excellence. You have once you have lean manufacturing like really going, very little mistakes. Um, you're operating at a much higher level than everybody else because you're always improving. No one wants to leave because they all have ideas. They know how to fix things. Their input is appreciated, and yeah, and it's fun. Um, I would say in the film industry, like originally this is I think it was customer retention. I changed it to client retention because people want to hire you because you have this operational excellence. You have the same people every time. They're all interested to come to work. They're happy. Um, Consistent reduction in cost. Um, as you improve stuff, you figure out how to do more with less, and you figure out how to cut out the waste, so things cost less. And consistent increase in quality. Even though you're figuring out how to do more with less, you're figuring out how to do it at a much better rate than before. Continuous innovation. Like, it's kind of funny, like with us, the milk crate divider that we started selling was really a product that was born out of an improvement. We wanted to divide the crates somehow, and we're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if somebody made something that could do this? So you're always innovating. You're always at the forefront of things. Fun place to work. Um, yeah, it's great. So, how to get others on board? This is the hardest part. um, so I would say a big thing is push versus pull, and this push versus pull, like, this comes into place in a bunch of different places within lean, um, but it definitely applies here. Um, basically push is like you telling other people like you have to do this, um, get on board, or you're fired or whatever. Whereas pull is you just improve your area, you're doing cool things, everybody's, seeing, oh wow, my job like suddenly became easier because of your improvement. Can I learn more about this? They're interested, you you just give them the information as they ask for it. Um, the other thing too is just learning to focus on your own waste. It can really turn a lot of people off from lean if you're saying, if you're going into their space and saying like, oh, look at all this waste. Like, what if you did this? What if you improved this? Forget about that. Like, everybody has their own waste, and just because you started doing it doesn't mean you should, go to other people and try and get them to to clean up their mess, even no matter how annoying it may be. You just have to focus on yourself, focus on your own improvements, things that you can control, and um, and as you do that, it will get other people interested. They'll want to be like you because they realize that that, oh, this person's not stressed anymore. They're having fun at work. How do I be like that? Um, this has kind of been a difficult thing for me. Just that improvements need to come from the person doing the work. It is really important that um, that the person doing the work comes up with all of their own ideas. They come up with the improvements. Um, just because it's there's two things here. One is that lean being more about the culture of continuous improvement. That means that everybody needs to like have their own ideas, because if it's just one person coming up with ideas for improvements, um, you're gonna fall flat just because they don't, they can't be everywhere at once. They don't know how everything works, and they're going to start improving things that don't really matter. Because if the improvements come from the person doing the work, they're going to improve the things that really bug them. So, um, so if they fix the things that really bug them, those are going to be the things that really have the biggest impact on the work. So, yeah, if they don't like it, if they don't like lean, blame the process and not the person. So, it's not the fact that um, that the person just like doesn't get lean or something, or they don't understand how to come up with improvements. They can't see waste. It's not that. It's that your process of getting them interested in lean is not good, and you're doing something wrong. So figure out what you can control to, appeal to that person, um, because maybe what you're, maybe you're not focusing on your own waste, or maybe you're pushing this stuff on them too hard. Um, so I've definitely seen some things that say like, if the employees don't like it, it's not lean. And I think that is very true. Just like this push versus pull thing, um, like Chick-fil-A, I know that they are pretty into lean manufacturing, and they have this whole like um, team of people that go around the country and teach different franchises how to use lean in their restaurants, and they the thing is though is they don't require the franchises to take this training. It's actually the franchises have to request it, and not only that, but they have to pay for it. So they have to be like really invested, and really want to be involved, um, in order to to actually make it happen. And so I think that that's a really good example of the push versus pull. So yeah, if you're interested in learning more, there's so much information out there about this, and I've really just like skimmed the surface. And it really takes a lot of reading and trying these things to really fully understand them. And the FastCap website, I think that that's like the best introduction that you can get to lean. Paul Akers, um, who runs FastCap, he's also an author. He wrote 2 Second Lean. Um, he's just like really energetic, very fun guy, and he has these end of year improvement videos where he just goes around and asks all of his employees what their favorite improvement was that year, and all of his employees just have like the most amazing improvements, and it's just fun to watch. This American Life, they have a really good episode um, about the NUMMI car plant, and they interview the workers. They interview like the union leaders, management, everything. Um, it's yeah, it's just like it's really good radio, and it's also like a really good introduction to lean. Um, 2 Second Lean is yeah, it's a book that is written by Paul Akers, the owner of FastCap, and Paul like also just like writes in a really fun way, very quick read, and really sets you up to start trying to make lean happen. Toyota Way is a much more dry book, but very informative. Just about how Toyota came to be and how they use lean manufacturing. The goal is is kind of a funny book. It's just about this guy who is having problems in some sort of like plant that's pretty nondescript, and he's just like trying to figure out his problems. It's kind of written in short story form. I really like it, or narrative form rather. Checklist Manifesto, really good. Just about how checklists are one of the most amazing things that you can use, and like basically like how pilots and people in the medical industry use checklists to really reduce their rate of error. And then yeah, I've really found Reddit to be a really good source. When I'm running into problems and I'm like, I'm trying to implement this idea of um, you know like I actually the best thing was I went on there and I asked about like how to standardize my processes and like where do I keep that information, because we were trying to write it in Google Docs and then just posting um, the processes around our shop. But the issue was is things would get updated and like the printed version would fall out of sync with the web version. And yeah, I went on there, explained my problems, and there was somebody pretty quickly responded with a lengthy thing about all the things that they had learned, and they pointed us in the direction of making our own Wikipedia. So yeah, that's really great. So okay, I hope I hope that with all that I've talked about that you can just fix what bugs you. That's the most important thing. And don't limit it to work. Do it at home, and do it everywhere. It'll make you happy. It'll make life a lot more fun. And yeah, and people will think that you're pretty smart if all that you do is you fix what bugs you. So, all right. Thanks so much for watching.